Morning, y'all. Welcome to Emerson Unitarist Universalist Congregation. My name is Douglas Futch, and now I have to tell you all the things I've got suckered into doing in the last year since I said I was only going to be in the choir. I'm a member of the choir and the choir leadership committee, the membership committee, the endowment committee. I think that's all. And I'm brand new certified for OWL teaching K1 and 4-6. So this is my shameless plug for signing up your kids for OWL. Please see Michael Lukens or Misty Holm if you have questions. And non-members are welcome to join too. See, I did it all. All right. I'd like to offer a special welcome to those of you joining us for the first time, either in person or online. We're grateful to you here and look forward to getting to know you. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of each and every person through anti-racism, anti-oppression, support for the LGBTQ plus community, working for reproductive justice, voting rights, and other issues, as the world calls us to side with love. We seek to build a beloved community not only here, but in our surrounding area. Everyone is invited to join us for social time after the service because today we're having the Thanksgiving potluck, if you haven't figured that out by now, so don't forget, and we'll talk about more of that in a minute, okay? Each Sunday, we pause to light our chalice as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. So today, as Reverend Christina lights the chalice, our words are adapted by Nick Wilburn. We gather here together today to share and to give thanks, to tell our stories and to break bread and to be together. We light our chalice this morning in the spirit of giving thanks, with love, hope, and generosity of spirit, grateful for this opportunity to be together. Thank you, Reverend Christina. Now, in the spirit of love and the beloved community, let's greet each other to this new day as we share our congregational affirmation. We need not think alike to love alike. Please greet your neighbor and say good morning to this new day. Those in the sanctuary, feel free to move around. And for those online, please use the chat to introduce yourself or unmute to say hello.
Good morning. It is so good to be with you. We have a full crowd in the house, and it looks like we have a few seats maybe over at this table if we still need a spot. I know that there are people online. Good morning. I'm Reverend Christina Branum-Martin, the minister here at Emerson, and it is a pleasure to share worship with you today. These words by Laura Horton Ludwig are titled, To What Shall We Give Thanks? The wheel of the year has turned again. Once more, the Thanksgiving season has arrived. How shall we sing our song of gratitude now? And for what shall we give thanks? For this moment, friends, near and far. For our breath. For love and courage and clarity, for strength, delight, laughter, and beauty, and for the tables around in which we gather like we are today, and the food we will soon share. that food is seasoned with love and memories and stories. For the sun and the moon and the stars in the sky, and for the trees, which we see so much that stand still proud with the last few leaves about to fall into our yard that we must rake. And we are grateful for the bright voices of children and babies and laughter, and for the wisdom of elders and the actions that bless this world. For music and art and celebration and generosity and endurance and joy and hope and all of these beautiful things, we give thanks as we worship together today. So let's sing together. We have the hymn, We Give Thanks, in the teal hymnal, but we didn't put out all the hymnals today. But this song is really simple, and the words will be on the screen in just a moment. There they are. Let's sing together. Stand. We've come to the time of the service where we share our joys and our sorrows and our concerns, and our book is full. I start with a stone, first in honor of the Cherokee and the Muskogee nations of the indigenous people who lived here before us. This is especially poignant because we are on their land. We also put a stone in to honor those who worked this land wrongly and who labored on this land for hundreds of years. And we put a stone in for the current conflicts around the world, of which there are so many. Another we put in is for tomorrow, on November 20th. It is Transgender Day of Remembrance. This day honors the memory of those who were lost in the act of violence against transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people. In the U.S. alone, 31 people since the last Transgender Day of Remembrance have died by such violence. And while this number is down, the height of that number was in 2021 at 57. There are likely many more who go underreported because of names that are not followed by choice and by misgendering and by the desire not to represent them. Many of them are women who are of color, and that intersection of racism and transphobia and sexism continue to create that violence. May this day serve as a solemn occasion to raise awareness about the challenges faced by transgender people, and may we continue to advocate in our world, in our community, and here in this community of Emerson that we can be more inclusive and accepting. I also have a sorrow from Nikki Fambro. We found out November 16th that my spouse's grandmother passed away November 15th. She was very influential and close to C, who was her spouse, and this has hit them very hard. I have a joy. This is from Lindsay Tomek. My girls have been away camping with the Girl Scouts this weekend, and I have enjoyed my time, but happy to have them back today. Another is by A Joy by Susan Tomacek. I watched the ecumenical service on Thursday evening. Wow, what an inspiration. Thank you to Kathy and the choir. You sounded beautiful. I need my readers for this book. I'm going to keep some under here for the future. This is from Karen Pichette, if I said the name right. It is with great joy that I share some happy news from our daughter and son-in-law in Massachusetts. They are expecting their first baby in May. This little delight will make Mike and I grandparents for the second time. And the last is by Gina Young. I recently found the identity of my biological mother and other family members. I am grateful for all the love and support Emerson has given me these past weeks. Love you all. And I add a final stone for all the things that have yet to be shared, the things that are still in your heart, the joys that are starting to bubble up, and the sorrows and concerns that might keep you up at night. Know that we are here when you are ready to share them. May we close in thankful awareness with the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. Would you read these with me? May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be.
One way we put our prayer of loving kindness into action is by partnering with other organizations who work to bring love, kindness, and justice into the world. Our Share the Basket partner for November is Georgia Interfaith Power and Light, GIPL for short. GIPL is an interfaith environmental nonprofit whose mission is to engage communities of faith in the stewardship of creation as a direct expression of our faith and as a religious response to global climate change, resource depletion, environmental injustice, pollution, and other disruptions in creation. For over 20 years, GIPL has worked to inspire and equip congregations to engage in faith-based environmental action. To date, GIPL has partnered with over 600 congregations and over 100 green teams, helping them to implement practical climate solutions on site and advocate for environmentally just policies at the local, state, and federal levels. We're pleased to acknowledge the strong connections Emerson has had with GIPL for more than a decade. GIPL has been a consistent source of inspiration for us as we explore the connections between our spiritual lives and our care for the environment. With GIPL's encouragement, Emerson has become a greener congregation, helping us to reduce our electricity, conserve water, and completely eliminate our use of natural gas in the building. We fully support GIPL's work with the faith communities throughout Georgia. As the baskets are passed today, please give generously as you are able. We encourage our members and friends to support their work financially as we share our weekly collection and also by participating in direct action. For those in the sanctuary, please feel free to offer a donation or see your order of services for other ways to give. For those online, please go to emersonuu.org, select the Giving tab to donate. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are equally shared between Emerson and our partner organization.
Share that my understanding from the setup of the tables is that the baskets will be at the back, and we can pass this up here, and we'll be certain to put them together with the other basket. So if you could play the music for just a moment, I appreciate it. Thank you. I invite the young and young at heart to come and see some really cool bread I've got up here. Come have a seat. Did we do the share the basket? We did. And you know what? I think I know why you want to know. You know what? Maybe after the story, you could go to the back and get one of those lollipops. So I'm going to stand today, and I'm going to show you some of the things from this really big basket up here. You can probably see a little bit over the top that there are all kinds of breads. And this week in our households, we're probably going to be cooking and baking. And what are some of the favorite things that you like to eat at Thanksgiving time? Well, how about you? Mashed potatoes. What do you like to eat? Green beans. Do you have one? Mashed potatoes. How about you? Say it again. Jell-O. Turkey. Do you have one? Pumpkin pie. I was thinking that might be what you'd say. How about you? Gluten-free brownies. All right. Well, I want to share with you that I am aware that our food that we cook at this time of the year, all the way through December, have stories that probably come from family members. They come from favorite cookbooks. They come from memories of this season at other times. And all of these things have stories that go with them. And bread also have lots and lots of stories. I brought this plate of banana bread. And this little cookbook my mom made for me. It's in her handwriting. It's not fancy. I think she copied her own cookbook pages and stapled them together one year and gave it to me for Christmas in my stocking. And in this cookbook is her banana bread. And when I make it and I smell it in the oven, I think of her. And now I can share that memory with my own kids, right? And breads come in all sizes and different colors and different shapes. And it's just like each of us. We are all different, and we all have the different stories that we bring to the tables. And so let me tell you about some of these breads. Do you know that this pretzel is the only bread that's made for children? That's interesting. The story behind pretzels is that the monks in the 1500s wrote that if the children were quiet during the service, they would get twisted dough as a way to keep them quiet in the front row. So pretzels were made for children specifically. As far as I know, it's the only bread made specifically for children, except maybe rainbow birthday cake with sprinkles. And pumpernickel. Have you ever heard of pumpernickel? It's very dark, and it has an interesting smell. It's a little bit like rye. It's a little bit sour. You can pass it around. Smell it. It's different. Northern Europe has a popular grain that is grown called pumpernickel, and sometimes it's called black bread. And in countries such as Germany and Australia, this is the bread that's eaten every day. And I don't think it's very common for us to eat pumpernickel. Who in here likes pumpernickel? Oh, a lot of people. Wow. Wonderful. Will you hold that for me? Okay. This is a Kaiser roll. This is from Germany. It's got a neat shape. And there was a king in Germany whose name was called the Kaiser, which means the king. And he said, I want to name some bread after me. So this is a Kaiser roll. And another king from Portugal was a colonizer of the island, which is now Hawaii. And they brought recipes from Portugal to Hawaii where they had sweet grain growing, and they called it Hawaiian king bread, yes. And it's very sweet. You can even smell that and smell the difference between that and the pumpernickel. Now, here's an interesting story. What is this? Croissant. Where do you think it originated from? You think it's from France? Let me tell you a cool story about that. Did you know that the croissant originated in Vienna? And it was baked at a time when the Austrians were at war with the Turks. And the Turks were Muslims, and all the bakers were required to bake bread in the shape of a crescent moon. The crescent is the symbol of Islam. So France made the bread popular, but it was originated in Austria with a very interesting history. Yeah. Okay. When I was growing up in Texas, we had this very commonly. What is this? Tortilla. Do you know that supposedly more tortillas are sold than loaves of bread in the United States now? You think so? You think thumbs up on that information? And so when I was growing up, tortillas were not a regular thing in all the grocery stores like they are now. We are integrating histories and stories and traditions from all over the world into the food we eat in the U.S., and the tortilla is an example of that. Okay, who can tell me what this is? Matzah. Yeah. Matzah itself is unleavened bread. What does that even mean? Unleavened. It means that it hasn't risen. Is that what you were going to say? It hasn't been levitated. That's a good way to think of it. So the story about this bread is that if you didn't have a chance to let your bread rise to make a soft, squishy loaf of bread because you were being chased at a time of war, you might take the bread and bake it very quickly and run so you'd have food in your bag to eat. And that is the story that those of the Jewish faith remembered to remember a time of Passover when their ancestors had to flee during a time of war. They were running for their lives, literally, and there wasn't even time for their bread to rise. And now, in Friday prayers, during a time called Shabbat, challah is prepared, and at Passover, they remember their own history by eating matzah. And you had a question? It not specifically in World War II. This story that I'm talking about from Passover is probably about 3,500 to 4,000 years old. Yeah, it's a very long time ago. And if you had a chance for your bread to rise, it wouldn't look like this. It would look like this. Isn't this beautiful? Now, what a difference. Challah is leavened bread that it's a little sticky, so I'm not going to give it to you. I don't want your fingers to get all sticky. But it has raisins in it, and it's braided, and you say prayers when you braid it. And so it's a part of the Jewish tradition of Shabbat on Friday nights. So all bread tells a story, and today we're all eating food that you brought from home or the store, and those things were chosen because they connect to the story of who you are. And I really like telling this bread story because bread, like all of you, are different shapes, different sizes, different colors, different stories, different histories. And I am so glad that I got to share this story with you. Thank you very much. And if you would like to go to the back and get a lollipop, head on back there now. Oh, we have to do our song. Let's sing, and then we'll do the lollipop. Hold on. Sing. I forgot. Would you join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation? I share these words by Deborah Hafner. For all that is good in our lives, she titled it. May we whisper thank you for all that is in our lives. Thank you. Thank you. May we shout thank you for all the blessings. Thank you. May we feel thank you, thank you, thank you deep within our hearts and around us right now. May we be thankful down to our bones for this time together. May we take the time to feed each other in heart, in mind, and body. May we take care of each other. May we appreciate and trust each other and say thank you today and every day, because it's the only prayer you'll ever need.
Our reading today is by Dawn Star Sarah's Borschelt, When You Have More Than Enough. Once upon a time there was a family. Maybe this family had not quite enough to eat, or maybe they had just about enough, or perhaps they had more than enough. You might not have been able to tell. They might not have been able to tell. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you have enough or not. It's hard not to want more or different things than you have. In any case, this family came together one autumn day for a celebration, a feast, a time of gratitude. They gathered, as we have done, around a table. There was food, there was drink, there were flowers to remind them of beauty. And then there was a call from the gate outside their door. "Hello, we're hungry and thirsty, and we see you have a feast. May we come in?" Well, the family didn't know at first how to answer. Who were these people at the gate? Was it safe to let these people in? Did they have enough to share? Was there room? But they remembered. They remembered that most of them had come to this family, to this celebration, from someplace else. They remembered that even they who were there at that table had not always been kind to each other. There had been times when they hurt each other. There were still times when they made each other sad or angry or afraid. There is no way to make life completely safe. They remembered times when others had shared with them, even when the others might not have had quite enough of their own. They remembered when each new member of the family had been born, or come to stay, or married in. They remembered that they had always found a way to make room. And they remembered an old saying, "When you have more than you need, it is better to build a longer table than to build a higher fence." "We have enough," they said. "We might have more than enough. We are many and strong, and we can hold a safe space here in our home for all who come." And so they went out of their door into the gate in the fence. They opened the gate. They invited the people who were there in. Inside, they pulled out another table and made space for these newcomers. They covered it with a cloth, and the newcomers set upon it a dish full of something fragrant and delicious, which was strange and wonderful to the family. Everybody shared, and there was enough. I want us to notice that we only heard one part of that story. We heard the story of the people who were in the family in the house, ready to feast. We didn't hear the story of the people at the gate wanting to come in. We don't know who they are or why they are there or what they bring to the table other than that strange and wonderful food. So when you hear other stories this Thanksgiving season, I want you to think about whose stories they are and whose stories they aren't, and what those other stories might have been.
Today's service is about sharing stories about of the food at our table. We all have stories about food prepared lovingly this week and shared around the table. At your table may be beloved family members, or perhaps you will share this day with chosen family and close friends. In our family, we call chosen family Framily. What are some of your stories? On your table is a short list of questions for you to ponder. So I'm going to give you a moment right now to choose a question and share with the person near you one of these questions. What is your favorite holiday food to cook? And from whom and did you learn this recipe? Another question is, do you have a family Thanksgiving tradition that is favorite? Or simply, what are you grateful for this year? Take a moment. All right, let's continue these conversations at our meal. The nice thing about these questions is that they elicit all sorts of stories, and we can continue these stories as we share our meal together today. I just heard something really lovely. One of the questions was, do you have a favorite family tradition? And one was to leave an empty chair set for those who are no longer with us. Oh, that touches my heart. Thank you. Well, as you already know, the tables are set in the sanctuary for this beautiful meal that we will share. And I don't know about you, but as I walked down the hallway, I could smell all the familiar smells of things cooking. And today I am reminded that we are a family here, a chosen family here at Emerson. We often cook those treasured recipes, and some of those recipes have been handed down from family members. And I know there's something my grandmother used to make. It was a particular Jell-O salad with coconut and marshmallows. And it makes me think of Thanksgiving and childhood. And recently I thought I could find a recipe online, and I started looking around, and some had pineapple, and I was like, she didn't have pineapple in hers, and so sometimes those recipes are recreated from just those memories, and thank goodness we have the internet. I brought some of my cookbooks, and I told you about this one for my mother. My siblings and I each got one, and as I said, when I cook from it, for example, the sage stuffing that I brought from this cookbook today to share with you, it brings my mother, who died 8 years ago, closer to my heart. And our story today about bread is a reminder that all of us, in our differences, come from a common bond that stories are what make us unique and what bring us together. May we honor our ancestors today by sharing the food and the recipes that they cooked. This cookbook, The Puerto Rican Cookery, has an inscription from my mother-in-law to my children in the front. It reads, "Para mi nieta Elisa, de su abuelita con mucho cariño." My husband's family is Puerto Rican, and she tells an interesting story about Thanksgiving. She said that she grew up having turkey with a side of spaghetti. And the way this came to be was that her parents, when they immigrated from Puerto Rico in the early 1920s, right after it became a U.S. territory, and they were given a visa or the freedom to be able to come in, they moved into a crowded tenement building that was already inhabited by many other immigrants from Italy. And they arrived right before Thanksgiving. And they didn't have any sense of what this tradition is. And those who had immigrated were making their own sense of what the traditions were. So as they arrived and didn't have a set of things to eat off of, plates and pots and things, they were invited to join a meal with the neighbors next door from Italy. And they said, "Nobody here likes that mushy stuffing. We like our pasta." So we have turkey with a side of spaghetti, and it was a hit. So her childhood was turkey and spaghetti. And like all of us, our food at our table is a blending of our stories and our histories and the things that are told to us with revelry. Another cookbook you might recognize is The Joy of Cooking. Who has that on their shelf? Quite a bit of us. Mine is kind of falling apart. I was gifted that when I moved out from home, and my mother gave it to me one year, and my pages are falling out, so when I open it, I have to carefully keep it from getting out of order. And another cookbook here is called The Homesick Texan. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, and the food there, you know, the country of Texas, as some people call it, the food there tells a heritage of stories of slow-cooked barbecue and fajitas with spicy salsa and chili con queso, and breakfast with a side of biscuits or even buttery grits. Texas is a combination of the South, the Southwest, and the Mexican heritage. I mean, Texas itself was 3 different countries before it became a U.S. territory. From Spain, originally Mexico, France had it for a little while, and then it became a U.S. territory. And this cookbook helps me stay connected to my roots. Last, this cookbook here is about bread. When I was a teenager, this bread here, when I was a teenager, I was a friend with a person named Cherry Steinwinder. And Cherry Steinwinder is 83 years old, is a beloved, wonderful woman. She has one of the biggest hearts of all the people that I have ever met. She has an amazing smile, and she would not need this microphone if she were here. She is a proud Black woman from Louisiana who is married to a white man from Austria. His name is Ziggy, and he immigrated to the U.S. when he was a young man. And when they were married in 1973, they experienced so much discrimination because of their marriage. And Cherry became a school teacher of all different levels, but elementary was her favorite. And she wanted to help children learn to respect each other for all the ways that they are different. So she decided that she wanted to help children learn about racism and the insidiousness of how internalized racism becomes a part of so many children's lives. At my aunt's house, where Cherry and Ziggy would often come for dinner, we talked about these issues. We talked about what they experienced from their marriage. We talked about what she experienced and saw in the classroom and in children's lives. And she decided to apply for a grant to start a nonprofit. She wrote a few grants and didn't get them, but one day, a really big one came in, and she was able to establish the Center for the Healing of Racism, which at this point is 32 years old. She has been the co-executive director since its beginning. She began developing curriculum to use with school-age children of all different levels. And opening the bread basket is where I got some of the stories today, and that is for elementary-age children. She trained me to go out and work in schools and tell these stories, and I know that I am changed by my relationship and knowledge that I have learned from her. I can also remember a song that we sing at the time of gratefulness, of a time when many of us are celebrating Thanksgiving. And I'll sing it for you now. Just give me a little grace. I'm not a soloist usually. I sing with a group. For health and strength and daily food we give our thanks, amen. That's what we said and sang around our table, and we had a game. We would start really low, and then sing, the next person would sing the next octave up, and then up and up and up, and whoever was the highest, and I was a soprano, would often win. But this taught me as a child simple gratitude. This taught me gratitude for being together, gratitude for the food which was at the table, gratitude for community and for family and family, my chosen friends and family. And Willie Nelson also said this really well, the prophet Willie Nelson. He said, "When I started counting my blessings, my whole life turned around." And that's what this week is about for me. It's about gratitude. And I think this is why we all feel so connected at this time of Thanksgiving, even with its problematic history that this holiday holds. I want to remain connected to gratitude. And when we share a meal and literally break bread together, we open our hearts to each other and to the stories we each bring. During this time, we can be reminded of who we are, where we come from, and who called us into who we are now. Like my family, who helped form who I was, and Cherry Steinwinder and Ziggy. They created the story of who I am by breaking bread together at our table and helping me learn to do that with children by teaching this opening the bread basket. Today, we can look around the table and see our family, our chosen family here, and know, too, that we can open our hearts. I know you have brought cherished recipes and things that you want to share, and we are opening our hearts to each other. I will close with a prayer of thanksgiving. This is by Reverend Gary Kowalski. And may it bring you peace as we move into this week. Each of us will be grateful this Thanksgiving in differing ways. We are gathered in our separate families, each with our own distinct recipes and customs and traditions and stories. Some will share pies of mince, others of pumpkin or apple. Some will dine early. Some will sit down late to a meal. As to the question of stuffing, should it have raisins or currants? Should it have sage and onions and celery? Should it be a side of spaghetti? For such differences of opinion make us truly appreciative, realizing that there is no one way to celebrate the gifts of our life. So there is no one way to share in love or friendship. But amidst our diversity, let us be united in our gratitude for a world in which there are many different faiths, many different heritages and stories and histories. In this nation where there is freedom to worship, may we live in a community in which people of many backgrounds can gather together in mutual care and respect. Amen. We're going to sing a song in a minute that is itself a blessing. It is actually the very first hymn in our gray hymnal, and it's called "May No Evil Cross This Door." It is itself a house blessing, a blessing of space, and I offer it to each of us, perhaps as a blessing for this week ahead. Let's sing together, and the words will come up on the screen in a moment. Thank you. There are times in which I am asked to do a house blessing, and that is what I print out on a piece of paper for them to slip under the doormat as a house blessing, as a token of remembrance. Our closing words today are by Charles Howe. May we go forth from this place thankful for the life that sustains and renews us. May we be open to the grace that surrounds us and surprises us. And may we go forth today from this place with openness and with thanksgiving. As our chalice is extinguished this morning, we extinguish the light, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. And we have two announcements.
Lots of people coming up
You
here.
got lots of people
Yep.
coming up?
I feel like all the who's in Whoville today. Millie's going to talk, well, actually, I'm going to let Michael talk first, and then Millie, okay?
I'm not sure that I have enough hair to be a Whoville person, but we'll go with that. So just a quick announcement. You'll notice over here this table doesn't have decorations on it. It has like pine cones and things. So families, after your kids are done eating, if they need an activity, we brought a family activity. We're making bird feeders over at this table. So send your children over here and we will help them get started.
Happy Thanksgiving. I am very thankful for all of you that are here. And we have plenty of food. And as I speak, our turkey is on the way. And so until the turkey gets here, I want to ask you to go out into the narthex and have tea or coffee, and then come back to your seat, and then we'll start serving food. And since the turkey is right down the street, and if Richard doesn't have a rick, we will be fine. And also, I want to ask you this. If you have $5 or $10 that you could put in our basket to pay for all the other stuff that goes with the turkey, we would appreciate it. If there are any questions, I'll be floating around up here. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Millie works hard on all this stuff, doesn't she? Yeah, I know. My God. Okay, you heard all the instructions. Don't mess it up. because Millie will come after you. As our service ends, though, y'all go now in peace and take peace wherever you go.